Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the Sniper Podcast. This podcast is inspired because, as you guys know, I've been reselling for the past 6 years, and it's been a great experience. And I have so many stories, so much knowledge, so much wisdom to give to you guys. So I'm going to have my assistant, Carlos, that will be hosting this podcast. And he's going to ask me some great questions so you can understand the perspective, the mindset on what I've done these past 6-7 years, almost a decade in sneaker reselling. We have some funny stories. We have some great experiences. So this is going to be a dope podcast for people that are inspiring to resell or inspiring to be a business owner or inspiring for a dream or a goal. So this is going to be super dope, super excited for these episodes that are coming. And it's going to be a heck of a ride. So, welcome to Sniper Podcast, and hope you guys enjoy.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? My name is Carlos. I'm Sniperkicks assistant. Been working with him for quite a bit some time now, coming almost a year, and I can definitely say it's been a journey. It's been a really crazy experience to get to see what goes on behind the scenes and everything that not many people get to see, and like what a small business kind of goes to, and like to the scale that he's at now. I can't even imagine what he's gone through back in the day. So can't wait to see what you go through, what kind of stories you'll tell the viewers, and definitely tell me, because I don't know your whole backstory. Right. So it's going to be a really awesome story for both me and the viewers here. But yeah, if we can just start going here. Take us back to the first time you were introduced to reselling, and how it kind of shaped who you are to the man who you are today, and what that's really done for you, being from when you first started reselling, what you thought about, kind of midway point, and then to the man who you are today.
Yeah, you got to go all the way back. So, a little backstory with me. So since I was 2-3 years old, I was a big basketball guy. My family's a big basketball family. During that era of Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, with the Bulls in the 90s. I was born in 94, so I was right in that era toward the tail end. And, Michael Jordan was everything to the family. So I wanted to play basketball at an early age, and, pursued it at a very high level. So, going from elementary school, going to practice, playing all year round, going to middle school, playing all year round, going to high school, trying to play Division I basketball, working my tail off, ended up playing Division I basketball through hard work and dedication. And, once I got into college, again, I was so busy playing basketball. Sneakers and basketball go hand in hand. So, me understanding man, you always want the new Jordans. You always want to be fly, all those different. My teammates have the new sneakers. So, sneakers was always in my life throughout. I remember when I was a kid, my mom used to buy us the new Jordans. If that was the Jordan 1s, it was, I remember the Jordan 14 last shot she got us, and she was just trying to get us with the flyest J. So we always had sneakers in our life. But, going back to college, played at the Division I level at University of North Florida, ended up tearing up my knee my last year in college, was out for 3 years during that period of time. So that's a very long time. Had 2 surgeries, very tragic experience for me, because I had basketball throughout my life, and I had to sit down for 3 years trying to figure out what's wrong with my knee. But if you go back to my brothers, so I have a huge family. I have 3 brothers, 2 sisters, 6 of us total, and we all played basketball. But my younger brother, Brian, and I'm going to make sure I get him on this podcast because it's a great story with sneakers and sneaker reselling. He actually was, like I said, pursuing being a doctor, and he actually paid his way through medical school with sneakers. So crazy. So when I was going through my basketball journey, going through college, I would see that he was flipping sneakers. He would go out to downtown Chicago, get sneakers, sell them. And I'm seeing it from afar. I knew there was money in it, but I didn't know specifically how much money you can make. But me seeing him pay his way through college with sneakers, I'm like, there's something to this. So when I get hurt in basketball, out for 3 years, I need to make some money. I was fortunate to get my master's degree. I didn't go to school necessarily for the education, but I was fortunate to get that degree. And I necessarily wasn't a corporate arena type guy. Again, I have my MBA, but I wasn't the guy that's going to be behind the desk that was going to just try to climb up that ladder. I was never that guy. I always had that go get it mentality, and that's why, kind of I was able to play basketball at that high level. So what I did, and I'm going back, and it's, whatever it is, 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago. So I get done with college. I go into, basketball training because I want to play professional, but I got a messed up knee. So I was like, okay, let me just train kids. And I absolutely hated it. I hated it. The reasoning why is because I'm hurt. You got to deal with these kids. They're 4-year-old, 5-year-olds, 7-year-olds. I'm like, bro, I can't do this. So I'm seeing what my brothers continue doing. So I got curious, like, can I actually do this as well? Can I be in that type of business? Because it seemed fun. So I'm like, okay, let me talk to my brother. I talked to him a little bit. He's kind of giving me some information, but not much. He's just telling me, yeah, you just get the sneakers, you sell them. But there's so many things that you need to know. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to try this out. So I try it out. I believe first I do stuff like on OfferUp, like used sneakers. And most people don't understand the used game. There's people that make a lot of money, 6-figure, 7-figure businesses just off used sneakers. So that's what I do first. I find an app called OfferUp, and I just look up Air Jordan, and I'm all day searching for shoes, and I'm lowballing people. And I didn't really know. I thought like I was getting like beat up shoes, and I would just clean them myself to get them for the better price. So that's really started my journey, is with the used sneakers. That right there was a whole experience. Used sneakers, figuring out what sneakers sell. People want certain retros. Some retros sell better than other ones. So it was just an experience, man. But I was fortunate for my brother showing me that it was possible. Because a lot of times when people, want to go into a business, they don't know what's possible. So I knew sneaker reselling worked because I had my own sibling that had success. So I knew it worked. I seen it with my eyes. So it was me just figuring out the steps to execute. Therefore, I can do it as well. And for the viewers out there, is like, a lot of people will discourage your dreams. But if you see somebody, if that's on YouTube, if that's your friend, if that's someone that can actually, you see them do it, you can do it as well. And that's what my brother kind of gave me there. So that's kind of how I started, was my brother. And then I just had to have the school of hard knocks and learn by mistakes and kind of go from there.
Yeah, that's really, really awesome. And you kind of already dove deep into like what your lifestyle kind of looked like. You were talking about how you were injured in basketball, you were in the hospital for quite some time, and that kind of stopped your basketball journey, unfortunately. But I think I want to know a little bit more about I want to kind of nitpick at that a little bit. You kind of like, you were around that area. We were just talking about lifestyle, how it looked like. But I believe around that same time, you were having your first son, Moses, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, if you talk a little bit about that, like, what it looked like from you being injured to having your firstborn son, Moses, and kind of going into that reason, because I mean, you had a lot on your plate. Not only you're injured, you have a son now. You don't have a job,
right?
And you're like, you can't really do a lot. So
for sure.
Like, and I'm assuming your mom was like, not your mom, your wife at the time was kind of like the breadwinner, but like that mindset, what was that like at that time? Just not really being able to do a lot.
Yeah, that's a good question. So at that time, and again, in life, you're always going to have adversity. And how you overcome the adversity is going to dictate where you go. Right. A lot of people see where I'm at today, and they don't understand, like the question you asked me, the backstory behind it. Right. So at the time, hurt. Again, my goal is to play professional basketball. Not working. I end up being a basketball trainer. My wife, she was getting her PhD. So yeah, she was, in something called a postdoc. So it's almost like training before you actually get your real job. So she wasn't making a ton of money, but she was making a lot more than me. But the moment when I had my son Moses, and a lot of you guys see Moses on my lives, and he has a lot of energy and everything right now, him being older, 6, that was a switch for me. There's going to be a moment in everybody's life when an event happens that you understand that you need to step it up. So when I had my son Moses, I understood like, hey, I need to change something. I can't be depressed because again, when you do something your whole life and it's gone, and you try to come back, you got to get another surgery. The doctor tells you this, the doctor tells you that. You might not be able to play. It weighs on you. Like it's a depressing moment when that's your life for the past 22 years. But when I had my son, that was like the switch for me. That's like, man, you can't feel sorry for yourself. You can't have that victim mentality. You gotta figure something out. You gotta move on with your life if you want to have success. And I'm not saying moving on your life like give up on your dreams. I'm talking about like get to success. Like have that hunger, have that drive to be successful. So when I had my son, that clicked for me. Again, I'm not making a lot of income. We're living like in a townhome with my wife. She went to University of Miami, so we're back here in Illinois, and just a lot of uncertainty. So that was the mindset there. Bam, like have my son go from there. But then when I make that decision, now it's about the execution because anybody can be like, man, I'm going to change. I have this moment, this instance in my life, but then it's every single day finding a way to get better. And for me, with sneaker reselling, first of all, I had to get a job. That's where I went into basketball training. I did not enjoy it. I did not like it, but I did it at a very high, I did it really well. I was one of the top people there. I did a great job there, even though I didn't like it. That's something. If you don't like something, still do that at a very high level. But at that moment there, I was like, okay, how can I start building this sneaker reselling business? So I started Sniperkicks, as you guys see, which is my company. And then I went into the used sneakers that I talked about, but I was relentless at it. I was getting used sneakers, picking up sneakers wherever it was. Like I was serious and I had consistency and I had the determination that I was going to be successful with it. So that was really the background and the mindset that I had of being depressed to being determined. Because I understand I want to have success for my family and it wasn't going to be given. I had to take it and I had to take every single day to execute, move forward, and really, have those goals and dreams that I have for my family because nobody's going to give it to me. I had to take it. What's up, guys, man? You guys are at the Sniper Podcast. Super excited that you're watching, but we're taking a quick commercial break right here. Guys, if you want to learn how to sneaker resell at a very high level, I have a free live training that is going to talk about how to start to bulk buy, how to start getting your sneakers to buyers that you can actually make the most profit. And not only that, utilize AI. I've been doing this for the past 7 years full time, and you're going to be able to learn all of that knowledge in one setting at my free live training. So make sure you hit the link in the description section, sniperkicks.info, and it is going to be a fabulous time. There's going to be different bulk suppliers that I'm going to display during this live training. You're going to understand how to scale your company where it doesn't need to take so much of your time. Hope to see you at the live training. See you guys soon. Make sure you click that link right now. Let's go.
That's so good. That's so good, man. The main thing what I really got from that was, having something to fight for, having a why, and for you, it was your son. It was your son Moses.
Yeah,
Going into that, depressed state. A lot of people would have just quit
absolutely.
at that point, for
Yeah,
sure. I mean, as like think about a lot of kids or teenagers nowadays, or just young adults in general. They see sports. They love doing sports. They really want to go D1 in basketball. They want to go be a professional baseball player. They want to go become a professional football player, for sure. Go and doing all those things. But what happens when you have a life changing injury that like you went through? A lot of people would have just already just dropped the
yeah,
towel.
yeah,
And I love hearing your story because you're a fighter. So
yeah,
it's a really really great story. I think a lot of people would I
absolutely.
get a lot of inspiration from that.
Yeah,
But yeah, just like I said, having that why, and so that kind of goes into my next question right here. You know, aside from having your son being a really big motivator, how was it like reselling your first sneaker, being able
yeah,
to flip that first sneaker? Because I'm sure that was also another pretty big why when you realize that this is something that you can start doing full
yeah,
time, when you realize that this is something that you can actually turn into a job,
yeah,
being able to provide for your family, for your wife, for your kids,
yeah,
for your family in general, for your future family. Like, tell me a little bit about what that first flip was like, and
yeah.
then that kind of like like when you realize this could become a full-time thing, a
Yeah,
business?
yeah, that's a good question. So, like I mentioned before, I started with the used game, and the used game, again, finding sneakers for super cheap, clean them up, and then you list them back on marketplaces, like those offer ups, the eBays. There's a place called Let Go back then. I think offer it bought them out, but putting that stuff on there. So my first sneaker that I sold, and I'm gonna go used sneaker, and then I'm gonna go into new sneakers. Was the first one I sold. So the first one that I sold, I believe it was the Jordan 21, if I'm not mistaken. It was either 20, no, it was actually the Jordan 20. They had a flap right here, crazy designs with the strap at the top. I was able to get that sneaker. And again, that's a sneaker that you don't see a lot of people with. So I was able to get the Jordan 20 used. I forgot what I paid for it, maybe 60 bucks. And I sold it for maybe like 120. So I basically doubled my money,
Yeah.
with that sneaker right there. So me actually executing and selling that sneaker, that showed me that this business is possible. Because yes, you can see somebody do it and that can give you belief, but until you do it, you don't have that, call it conviction, or like, man, I can actually do this.
Right.
So when I sold that first sneaker, that used sneaker, I'm like, okay, I just made 60 bucks right here. 60, I spent 60, I made 60. This business is for real. But then, I do the used game. I start building up my capital, and that's a hint for you guys, is like, you don't need a lot of money to start reselling. If you don't have a ton of money, what you're going to do is that you're going to start, getting sneakers for cheap, like I did. I was a broke college graduate that didn't have much money, but I was able to get started by doing the used sneakers and all those different things. But when I had enough capital, I started going to the new game. So my brother, he only did the new sneakers. He didn't touch used sneakers, only did new sneakers.
Okay.
And the first sneaker that I sold, and that's back in 2019. So, give you guys some frame of reference, Sniperkicks started like 2018, where I started doing it. 2019 is when I sold my first new sneaker. So again, I didn't really know what I was doing, but I stuck with it. So the first sneaker that I sold that was new was the Jordan 4 Bread. It came out in 2019, the Jordan 4 Bread. So that sneaker right there was that first sneaker where I was like, okay, bam, I bought it for retail, which is whatever, maybe 220. I've sold it for over 300 bucks. So I'm like, okay, this is a business that I can make a ton of money. I just need to have the systems. I need to have the fundamentals. And now I need to start growing, where people know me. And that's what's really that took that business to the next level. So 2019, the Bread Fours, that was the first sneaker. And once I was able to kind of sell that one, I knew like, okay, now we can take this to the next level, and let's continue to be consistent. Therefore, we can make this a business that I can do full time and provide for my family.
Right, right, for sure. That's really, really good. Awesome, man. So yeah, I mean, kind of hearing what you were, so you were just talking about a lot of the stuff that, just like you said before, and anything you're gonna have adversity, and
Yeah,
it depends on how you're kind of going on about that. And really, in my opinion, I feel like while you're in the midst of adversity is really the part where your true character starts to show.
yeah,
And so, kind of when you first started realizing that this could be a business for, very profitable business, you're gonna get nothing but adversity.
yeah,
Not
absolutely.
every day is gonna be sunshine and rainbows.
Yeah,
It's not gonna be, cupcakes or whatever, right? It's
yeah,
like
yeah,
every single day there's gonna be a challenge, and it just determines on what that challenge is for you. When you were first kind of going on with this reselling journey, I heard a little bit about it. You said it a little bit like some money, some capital was a little bit of like your biggest struggle. But like, what are some other, like biggest problems, biggest things that you kind of face other than like income and stuff? Was it more so of like being able to grow your brand, or
yeah.
finding other ways to, finding having that figure out mentality of, trying to source sneakers and stuff like that? Like, what were those big setbacks, or like just plateaus that
Yeah.
were kind of in your way when you were first starting to resell?
Yeah, you mentioned it before. The first plateau is, having enough money
Hmm.
to really, buy as many sneakers that I want. But you can always, buy sneakers, flip them, so you can increase your capital. That's what I really
Yeah.
did. Another struggle was knowing what sneakers to buy,
Yeah.
because at the end of the day, it's like, yes, you're in this business, but you gotta understand the industry.
Yeah.
You gotta understand that Jordan 6 rings, people don't want that,
Hmm.
or Team Jordans are frowned upon, or okay, Jordan 4s sell better than Jordan 2s, and you got to understand like the collaboration sneakers go for way more than like when I started. StockX was just getting into the game, and GOAT, so those weren't really prevalent like they are today. You had the eBays, which is the OG of all of them. My brother actually started back in he started reselling, man, early 2012. So he started like 6 years before me. So he was doing it for a while. So again, that's one of the biggest struggles is understanding the industry and the market that you're in. Like the market now is completely different than the market when I was in 2018, 2017. So that was a struggle too, like understanding like what's going on, what sneakers to get. Another struggle is like understanding how to sell and be efficient with selling, like taking like nice pictures and the different platforms. And like I said, I was selling on OfferUp, all those different things. But there is strategy behind that as well. Title, pictures, description, all those different things, and of course branding, because when you're able to brand yourself, you're able to save more money, because again, you don't have to utilize all the apps to make the money, which they're taking fees because they're doing most of the work for you. So really being able to start building a brand where people want to come to you and actually shop for the sneakers and actually make more profit margins. And another struggle, and again, anybody has a struggle, is just being consistent when you're not getting results. Because when I started, like I said, I spent 2018 with used sneakers, and then the 2019 was my first new sneaker that I bought. So that was some time. And 2019 was a whole process until I really had my breakthrough in 2020, where I was making like money that I've never made before. So consistency, man, just being able to be focused and disciplined, even when you don't see the result. And most people don't understand what discipline really is, because with discipline, people say, oh yeah, I'm disciplined with this. But discipline is really doing things that you don't want to do, and you continue to do it, even though you dread it or you don't like doing it. And that's what I had to do. Like I had to continue to do the things, the disciplines of, understanding the market, being able to post all the inventory where I hated, having to post like doing those things every day, even though I didn't feel like it. And I'm doing a basketball training job as well. Watching my son as well, because I had to watch when my wife went to work. I had to watch my baby boy. So again, it was a lot going on in my life, but I had to stay disciplined even though I didn't want to do it, to get those results. So those are the struggles that I had during that period of time. It's like, man, but without struggle there's no success. It's a necessary action, and that's why most people don't have success, because they give up in that struggle or in that adversity.
Right, right. That's awesome, man. And like, not to mention as well, but as you were starting your reselling journey, you said like around 2018,
Yeah.
2019, and then 2020, COVID hit.
Yeah.
So I mean, it was a much more bigger thing that was laid on top of you. So
Yeah.
yeah, talk about discipline. Like you
Yeah.
were just like being at home most of the time, or like how was that? How did that look like? Kind of
Yeah.
dive deep into that, like kind of like that COVID era, because that
Yeah.
was when like sneaker reselling started to
Yeah.
bump up too.
Everybody and their mama wanted to go to
Everyone had
sneakers.
their
Day.
stimulus checks and
Yeah.
stuff. They're like, oh, I'm
Yeah.
getting money all over, so let's
Yeah.
just put it on to sneakers. Talk about that COVID era a little bit.
Yeah. So COVID was a crazy time, man. But before I kind of talk to COVID, so me setting myself up 2018, 2019 allowed me to go crazy in 2020. So, I want to preface that, because again, a lot of times you need the preparation before you have the acceleration, with your business. So, 2019, it's pretty solid. 2020, this when All-Star Weekend comes to Chicago. There's COVID, but All-Star Weekend comes to Chicago in 2020. And that was the craziest All-Star Weekend of all time. This is where I'm still starting to gain momentum. And this is when I actually start my YouTube, I think, a little bit later in 2020. I think I started my YouTube, or late 2019. If you go to my first YouTube video, is I talk about like, hey, the story of a sneaker reseller, and that's where I'm gaining traction, and it's going pretty well. So I think it's 2020 or late 2019, whatever it may be. But All-Star Weekend, let's go. This is a pivotal moment. So All-Star Weekend comes to Chicago. Hasn't been to Chicago in a very long time. And they're bringing out heat. They're bringing out the Off-White Jordan 5s. They have the Jordan 3 Shies. Like every single, they have the defining moments pack where they have the 85 white and red. And that, it's crazy. It is crazy. They have some crazy heat in there that have the airship with the Jordan 1. People are waiting out in line. Downtown Chicago is a frenzy. It's a frenzy. So, me experiencing that All-Star Weekend in Chicago, and I just see the level of what people are doing regarding reselling. People are having connections. They're able to get 100 pairs of one sneaker. I'm like, how are they able to do? So I'm seeing the levels there is to reselling. Like I'm doing it at a very small scale, but me being outside and seeing people do it at a very high scale, I'm like, okay, there's a different level. So I've seen that, but All-Star Weekend, I got exposed to a lot with the hype sneakers, the Jordan 5. And a quick story, I was so pissed. So the Foot Locker app, the reservation system, I win the Jordan 5 Off-Whites, and everybody wants them. I know I'm going to make a lot of money with it, but Chicago was so packed that you couldn't get on the app to reserve them because it was like the servers were so packed with people. So I ended up missing out. I won 2 pairs. I missed out on 2 pairs of the Off-White. Those are going for easily $800 and retails 2 something. So I'm making $500 on those pairs, and I missed out on both. I was pissed during that period of time. I was pissed. If I know the viewers that are watching this, if you're in Chicago, you understand what I was talking about. But didn't get those. I was able to get. There's a lot of different sneakers like the UNC to Chicago's. Those were out there at the Shy 3s. So it was a great experience. We're going to stores and copping for retail. But that really shaped a lot of my journey as well, like seeing the different levels there is to reselling and people getting 100 pairs of the packs of the defining moment packs, people getting 100 pairs off the Off-Whites, and it was all based off connections and knowing the right people. So that's very important. So after Chicago All-Star Weekend, again, something happens and it's COVID. So I'm still building the brand. I'm still, working with reselling. COVID hits, the world stops. There's a lot of uncertainty during that period of time, and it let people kind of slow down because nobody was working. Nobody really knew what was what was going on, and with COVID, I'm still going out with no mask, and I see people with masks, and I'm like, what's going? Because I don't watch the news, so I don't really know what's going on. So all of a sudden, the world shuts down. And many people saw this as a disadvantage because you couldn't go to stores anymore. But you got to take adversity and flip it on this other end and realize this is an opportunity. So starting off during COVID, I was going absolutely insane with, online drops. Online drops like the Finish Lines. There was I'm gonna put you guys on game. There's a place called Woodstack. And bro, nobody knew about this website. They're a Jordan retailer. Now more people know about them. But Woodstack, I would be able to, kind of get the sneakers there because nobody knew about this website and this retailer Woodstack. And I would go on Woodstack, and when everybody was taking L's, I was able to cop. So again, I'm figuring out all these nuances online because the world is stopping. I'm figuring out all these nuances. I'm still able to get the pairs. The Flint 13s, the Court Purple 1s, man, there's so many sneakers, man. Jordan 1s were hot then. The Royal Toes, like, I was able to get all these pairs because I knew all these different websites. But something happened and people start coming on was the botters. So the botters understood like, man, nobody's really touching this online game, and there's a constraint because the world is shut down. The world is shut down. So the only way you can get sneakers is online. So the botters caught wind to this, and the botters took over online. They took over online, man, and online was super hard to get. Like I was cooking at first during COVID, online, bam, cooking online, and I'm making a ton of money. But then botters got wind of this, and it was game over. People went all in and bought it. Again, people were at home. just chilling, figuring out how to make money. Like, how do I make money? You have the stimulus checks and the different loans,
Yeah.
and people just figure out, how do I make money during COVID? And people got wind of botting and they shut down online. But I want to go to a pivotal moment. Michael Jordan, this is what really allowed me to do reselling full time. Full time. This moment, I realized I was going to be able to do reselling full time, and I never worked a 9 to 5 job since this moment right here. So Michael Jordan came out with a documentary called The Last Dance, and everybody's at home. So everybody is looking forward to this documentary because you can't do anything, and everybody knew about this documentary, The Last Dance. So the first episode comes in, and Michael Jordan, everybody, there's probably millions and millions and millions of viewers. So Last Dance comes on, great first episode, and people are super excited for this series. So it finishes the episode, and again, I was putting work, 2018, 2019, 2020, preparation. So I have these sneakers called the Jordan 5 Fire Red. This sneaker changed my life where I was able to start doing this full time. The Jordan 5 Fire Red. So the episode ends. The episode ends of The Last Dance, and I hear ding, 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 ding,
What?
ding, 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 and I'm like, what is going on here? And I'm seeing notifications of people buying sneakers, and it is the Jordan 5 Fire Red.
Wow.
Everybody's super excited for The Last Dance, you know, the documentary, and everybody's like, man, I need Jordans. But all of the preparation that I did, I had the infrastructure and the systems where people were able to purchase those sneakers for me, and I sold close to 100 pairs of the Jordan 5 Fire Red. Around 100 pairs of those. So that was the moment where I realized I'm not ever doing basketball training anymore. I'm not working a corporate job. I'm going to go all in with sneaker reselling. And that was phenomenal. But that moment, The Last Dance with Michael Jordan, that changed everything for me right there.
Man, I gotta watch that. I don't know what.
Everybody, the world was shut down. Everybody was waiting for that,
Dude,
for that documentary.
I don't know how I never heard of it.
Yeah, The
But
Last
I
Dance.
gotta go watch it now.
Yeah.
I mean, something must have been starting inside people.
Yeah, Michael
when they
Jordan,
saw
man.
That, man. So
Yeah.
that's an incredible story. That's so insane. But you know, just like you were saying, you kept hearing dings, ding, ding, ding.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit, because you know, and today, you know,
Yeah.
with this year kind of going into 2026, you know, you talk in your newer YouTube videos, you talk about bulk buying.
Yeah.
In that moment when you kept hearing those dings, I'm assuming you were kind of doing something a little bit around that same kind of sense, because you said that you saw a bunch of websites, you hit gold, you know, when you saw those websites. And then so sure enough, you had botters. I thought botters were always a thing, but it makes sense.
Yep.
Like around 2020, that's when everyone was in their own space. They had to figure something out. So they had botters, you know, you struck gold, and then you got that gold taken away from you.
Yeah.
And then you found, I'm assuming, was bulk buying. Dive into that one right there.
For
You know,
sure.
Having all those dings, you know.
Yeah.
I bet it starts something in your head where it's like, okay, I want to keep getting these dings. Let's get some more Let's get some more inventory in bulk and be able to like talk about that mindset about what it's like to get bulk.
Yeah.
And also talk about your first time getting bulk, you know, was it around that area when you had those dings, or you know,
for sure. So so during that time when I sold all those Fire Reds, I wasn't buying bulk. Okay. And I'm going to kind of progress from that moment to me bulk buying. So what bulk buying essentially allows you to do, it allows you to save time. Because anytime you're going to scale a company, you need to be able to do things in a faster manner. If you can't do things in a faster manner, then it's virtually impossible to scale that company. So that's why I essentially only do bulk buying now, and I don't do what I did back during COVID. So let's go back to all those dings, 100 pairs, ding, ding, ding. So I'm getting all these orders, but now here's the question. How do I fulfill on all these orders? How do I get these pairs to actually fulfill all of these orders. So again, I really didn't know much about bulk buying back in 2020, and I was not bulk buying back in 2020. So essentially what I did to fulfill those orders was I was utilizing all of those websites that I talked about with those Fire Red 5s. Like, it was a dope sneaker, but like, it wasn't like a super hype sneaker. People really wanted it because of The Last Dance, but it wasn't like a super difficult sneaker where like there's no way to obtain it. So I was getting a lot of the 100 from retailers, from online. Yes, there was botters that were doing it, but they really didn't. A lot of botters didn't go a lot, like all in on those Fire Red 5. So again, I was able to get a lot of those regarding retail stores. And the ones that I didn't get regarding retail stores, what I did, is that I was able to connect with people that were able to get pairs, and then I just bought it off them to fulfill those 100 orders. So it was good getting all those orders, ding, ding, ding. But the next question, how do I fulfill on all of them? And I just had to put my thinking cap on and figure out, okay, how do I get 100 pairs of these Fire Reds? Because I want to be able to fulfill them. Therefore, I have happy customers that come back again, again, and again, and again. So that's essentially, what I did. And it was a blessing because, again, I had a whole day out when they dropped. Okay, they dropped this Saturday. I had all of my tabs of the different websites I've been buying from, and I just went all in and just bought those pairs with the money that I was able to gather with all those orders with those Fire Red 5s. So I didn't really do bulk buying. Bulk buying wasn't even a thought for me. I saw people do it, but the bulk buying was really just having connections like I saw in the All-Star Weekend and then go from there. So I do the Fire Red 5s. And again, COVID's a heck of a time. I have my systems. I have my retail stores. Again, botters took over. I started connecting with botters that would bot for me now. If you can't beat them, join them. Right. So, okay, bot for me. Everyone you bot for me, I pay you a fee. People call it add to cart services, all those different things. So I was doing that. So COVID was a heck of a run. If you guys watch, and we'll do a whole episode on COVID because I can talk about COVID for 3 hours. That was the craziest time ever. Everybody and their mama wanted to do it. Right. People bring their whole families, 20 people to go, pick up pairs. Yeah. And it was a crazy experience. So we're going to do a whole episode just off COVID because I have for days. So 2020, no bulk buying, just going hopping retail stores, hopping online, paying botters. 2021, same exact thing. Retail stores, hopping. I'm putting people on game. And the reason why I have the following I have today is because I put people on game during COVID, man. People got so mad at me for teaching people how to resell. People got so mad at me. I'm teaching people how to win on Foot Locker, how to win on Champs, how to win on all these different things that they did not know. And I'm giving out free information. And again, there's enough for everybody. You just got to execute. But people got so mad that I was giving out the information that people really didn't know. And that's what I really do. I give out value. And that's why my following it is what it is today, over 600,000 followers in all platforms, is because I was giving out so much value during COVID. And I helped hundreds of thousands of people make so much freaking money during COVID. Hundreds and thousands of people make so much money with my methods of Foot Lockers, the leftovers, the finish line exclusive access, the when it's going down, the drops, because at the time you can make $100 on each sneaker. Right. Because again, it was inflated. People don't understand during COVID, it wasn't the resellers that were making the sneakers limited or hyped. It was because so many people had money with the stimulus and the loans. So there was an influx of buyers. Right. So that's why the market was so high during COVID. But during COVID, people don't understand is like, that is a time like people feel like reselling because most people were winning reselling during COVID, that's how reselling always been. So, people got the misconception like this is how always reselling was. But no, it was just an inflated market because there is extra money. Because 2017, 2018, reselling wasn't that. And most people weren't in reselling. There was only a select few resellers, but everybody jumped in during COVID. So 2021, still doing retail stores. But hence, I'm up at 8 a.m. I'm getting back home 8 p.m., 12-hour shifts. I'm going to every store in Chicago. I'm going to the worst of the worst parts of Chicago, and I have a lot of stories going to the worst of the worst parts of Chicago, to all the way to, the far end suburbs and, in the north of Chicago. So I'm going to all these places because I need to get as many pairs as possible, because I'm selling them. I'm making like $100 profit on each of these. So the more I can get, the more money I'll make. So it was just a crazy time during COVID, and we're going to do a whole episode during COVID, which was insane. So 2021, same thing. 2022, we're doing the same thing, but things are starting to shift a little bit. People don't have as much money. Money's starting to dry with COVID. The market is changing a little bit in 2022. So I was like, okay, I'm still going to all these stores, but it's not hitting like it did in 2020, 2021. So 2022, I'm still doing the same thing. 2023, that's where I knew there needed to be a shift, because with anything in business, it's adapting or you're going to die. If everybody just stick with what they were doing back in the day with flip phones, we wouldn't have this in iPhone.
Right.
So with business, there's always going to be, you got to evolve. And that's the problem with most resellers, is that they wanted to continue to do what they were doing in 2020, 2021, in 2023, 2024, 2025, and it does not work. It's a completely different situation. People don't have crazy amount of free money. So 2023, I had to make a shift. I'm like, okay, what is the shift that I'm going to make? And I'm still not bulk buying yet, because what I'm doing is working. If it's working, why switch it? You get what I'm saying? So I'm not going to bulk buy. I'm still grinding like crazy, going to all these mall and mall. But I was making great money. I'm working like a madman, but I'm making great money, so I don't mind doing it. And I'm doing it maybe 4 or 5 times a week. So again, that's my quote unquote job. So 2023, things started to change. 2024, things absolutely changed. But 2023, now these sneakers that you're going to retail stores, because back in 2020, 2021, even some of 2022, every Air Jordan, you make money. Every one. Doesn't matter. Jordan 5, Jordan 3, like you're making money. Jordan 9, you're making money. But now all Jordans are not making money anymore. They're not making money anymore. So now you got to be almost specific on like which one you're going to get. But also, you can't you can't just go and just buy stuff, like just buy 50 pairs, because the market can tank. So now there's more strategy.
Yeah.
Why people loved COVID is that there was no strategy. Just buy whatever Jordan comes out and you'll make money.
Right.
Now there's more strategy. What don't I buy? What do I buy? How many pairs do I buy? So that's the 2023. And that's where I got into Amazon. Started selling sneakers on Amazon.
Okay.
So again, crediting to my brother. My brother, again, he was doing it since 2012. So 2022, that's a decade of him doing it. And then he figured out like, hey, you can sell these things on Amazon. I'm like, what? It's like, bro, I'm making crazy amounts of money. I'm like, okay, how do you sell on Amazon? So we could do a whole episode on this, because I can talk about it all day. So essentially what you have to do, you got to be ungated on Nike on Amazon. They don't let anybody sell on Amazon. You got to be, show them an invoice and all those different things. But once you're ungated, now the sneakers that are necessarily not selling on StockX, GOAT, or whatever marketplace you use, they're selling crazy on Amazon, because Amazon's the number one marketplace in the world. And on top of that, with Amazon, it's gated. So only a select few people are able to sell on there. Right. So you're able to charge a premium because there's not many sellers, and it's, Amazon. So people trust Amazon more than they would trust sometimes like a StockX or a GOAT, because they understand Amazon is the number one place in the world. So I started doing that, and I was making a crap ton of money with Amazon. Yeah. And then 2024 hit, and I realized like I'm spending too much time like, I need to get my time back. This is when I have my second son. I'm starting to really get big on social media. I understand I need to take my, continue to grow my content. And that's when I go into bulk buying. And bulk buying back in 2024, you can say late 2023, 2024, was a game changer for me, because what it did, it saved me time. Because you think about it, when I go store to store, it's going to take me 12 hours,
Yeah.
12 hours to get all these pairs. And I may be coming home with 30 pairs, maybe. If I go to 30 different spots, maybe 30 pairs. But at the end of the day, it took me 12 hours to do that. So when I understood that I knew you could buy them in bulk, but having the right connections and relationships that I've built through that period of time, that's when I went into bulk buying. And that's where things started to accelerate, because I just saved time with the sourcing, and then that allowed me to sell and kind of move forward. So that's when I started with that bulk buying, was being able to kind of accelerate, grow, just based off adapting and shifting. Because yes, it was working during COVID, but I understood, like, hey, I need to continue to make changes and improvements to really scale the company where it continues to grow, even though the market changes. Because if the market changes, doesn't mean you can't be successful. You got to be successful in a different way.
Right.
So 2024 is really bulk buying. I kind of did bulk buying, and then, as you know, Carlos, you see me, 2025 is where it took it to a different level.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I've definitely seen, from what I could say, probably peak,
Yeah.
of what I've, because I wasn't there when
Yeah.
you were going running around to
Yeah.
each store. You touched on that a little bit. You said you were bringing your family out and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah, absolutely. There's a video when I brought my whole family. It was I forgot what shoe it was. If you go back, I think it was a Jordan 5. Brought the whole family to finish line to get leftover pairs, and people would do that, especially, again, people with, immigrant families,
Yeah.
man. You bring all 20 of them to the store to cop some pairs.
We did a little bit of that, like with the Jordan 4 white cement when they came out. We kind of went out to a couple
Yeah, we had a
stores.
couple of stores.
That alone, man, I don't know how you did it back then.
Yeah, man, it was a grind. It was a grind, man. And when we did the Jordan 4 white cement, it wasn't even. That's peanuts to what I was doing. We literally just went to like 3 spots, grabbed pairs, and left. But I was going to like 30, like so many different places all over Chicago. Like I said, the worst of the worst Chicago, to to places that are extremely far. So that was an experience. It was a time. But it's a chapter that I needed to go through to be where I'm at today. So again, bulk buying now, it allows me to really be more of a CEO of the business, instead of being, again, when you're going to all those pairs, yes, you have a business, but you're essentially the worker of the business, because you're putting all the groundwork. You have to do that. But now I'm at a point where it's like I'm more of like a CEO of a business, where it's more strategical, more tactical, to get where I'm at today, and it's gonna continue to grow. So guys, man, I know you guys are enjoying this podcast, but I want to remind you guys, make sure you are at the free live training. This right here is phenomenal. It has helped so many people get to the next level. I'm going to tell you a quick story. So one of my clients, Fabian was actually able to do $1 million in revenue, and he's been crushing it. He's been doing a lot of consignment, StockX Flex, but he's been able to get sneakers in bulk, the most hyped sneakers, the most profitable. So I'm going to be talking about how you can be able to do that during my free live training. Make sure to hit the link in the description section right there, sniperkicks.info. You're going to have a fabulous time. You're going to learn so much, and this has helped so many people, hundreds of people, be able to make profit in their sneaker reselling business. Make sure you click on that link right there. See you guys soon. Let's get back to the podcast.
Right, for sure. And I love what you said earlier. You had talked about with the phones. If somebody didn't figure out how
Yeah.
to change a flip phone to
Yeah.
a screen where we could
Yeah.
just touch,
Yeah.
people wouldn't imagine having a small TV in their
Yeah,
pockets, right? Being able to take that,
absolutely.
being able to call on that, it's so insane. And with that comes an evolution, and that comes
Yeah.
evolution can come in many different ways, whether it be a change in like a product or it could be a change in mindset.
Hmm.
So, kind of going into this question here is like, what is for the viewers listening? What is some advice that you can give for newer people reselling, but then to yourself, if to your younger self,
Yeah.
to the guy that was on essentially the hospital bed, or
Yeah.
like just first start like being in the midst of all that adversity, like
Yeah.
what is something that you can tell to your younger self, and just some general advice to
Yeah, I mean,
the
at the end of the
viewers.
day, some advice I would give to anybody
Yeah.
is that you just got to start. Here's the mistake that most people do, and this is just general advice for newer resellers, and then I'll give advice for myself. When I was in the hospital bed, it's like number one, you got to start because people always say someday I'm going to do something, someday, 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 next year, next week, when New Year's start, all those different things. You just got to start. And that's what I did. I just started. It wasn't perfect. I tried to figure some things out, but that's the process. Like if you're watching this podcast, you want to resell, just start doing it. Go and do offer up like I was doing and figure it out. There's going to be the school of hard knocks. The school of hard knocks. What that means is that you're going to learn through pain.
Yeah.
And when I say pain, I'm not talking about like it's gonna be, but there's gonna be some discomfort
Yeah.
because anytime you do something new, you got to be bad before you're good.
Mm-hmm.
And again, you can speed that up with mentorships and having somebody coach you. And my brother did that a little bit for me, but that's why it's so important to follow someone that's actually know what they're doing because it speeds time. And I wish I would have had someone more intimate that kind of showed me the ropes. I would have made less mistakes. But starting, that's the biggest advice. It's never going to be perfect. You just got to start. You can't give up because when you start and you're not good, this is what in today's generation. And again, I'm still, I'm not an old individual. I'm in my early 30s,
Yeah.
so I understand what people that are 20, 21, 22, 23, 18, 17 are going through.
Mm-hmm.
But in today's society, things just has gotten so easy to quit. Whereas like if you're not good at it, if it don't click for you right away, people say like, forget that, it's not for me, and then they try to do something else, and they have that same cycle. They do it again with something new. They try it a little bit. Man, I'm not good at it. They don't stick with it enough, and then they quit. It just doesn't work that way. You got to stick with it. And I love talking about you. You guys know my basketball background. It's like if I want to go in the weight room and I want to be stronger and I want to lift 500 pounds, I'm going to be weak until I get strong and I lift those weights.
Right.
And it's going to hurt. It's going to suck. I'm going to be sore. But that's a school of hard knocks for me to get stronger. So therefore, in the future, I can lift that 500 pounds. It's the same thing with reselling. It's like start. You're not going to be great starting up. It's going to take some time, but if you're able to kind of progress and grow, you will be able to kind of have success. And you guys hear my journey here. And for my younger self on the hospital bed, the biggest thing I would tell him right there is that your life isn't just because something happened in your life is not over. You have so much other things and success that you're going to have, but you just got to see it through. You got to keep seeing it through. You got to keep going. Days where you don't feel the great, you got to keep progressing. You got to keep overcoming because easily when you're in that situation with your dreams getting taken away, what you thought your dreams were, a lot of times people can fold, like I talked about with people that are newer. It's like, hey, if you don't have that success right away, people fold, but keep going. So starting and keep going, that's my biggest advice for people that are newer, and what I would give to my younger self that was in that hospital bed for his second surgery and his first surgery and, trying to come back, with those knee injuries.
Yeah, yeah, that's good, man. I mean, most thing I got really from that was Mamba mentality.
Yeah,
Just that interview with Kobe Bryant, asking like, do you like doing these workouts because you
yeah,
seem to just you do them every day.
yeah,
We see you do this every day. But like, do you like doing them? Like, no, I hate it.
right.
So I mean, just
Yeah,
like you said, kind of going through that hurt. That's really really good.
yeah,
But kind of wrapping up, this podcast. This is an amazing
yeah,
episode. I loved it. I love all the
yeah,
stories you told. It
yeah,
was awesome. Just trying to hearing all the nitty gritty stuff that you went through,
yeah,
and just hearing
absolutely.
that what made you the man who you are today. But kind of
Yeah.
wrapping up here, what's something that you're excited for moving forward from here? I mean, now we got this podcast. I know we
Yeah,
can
yeah,
start building this from here.
yeah, for sure.
But like, what are kind of like the next steps?
Yeah,
Coming from here.
great question. So again, super excited for this podcast because people can kind of see the mindset of, who I am, the growth, me being, kind of that business owner, kind of the chess, playing chess instead of checkers. So that podcast, people are going to really start to see the background, the growth, the stories, how I've been able to resell full time for the past, almost 7 years. And it's been like crazy, a blast doing it full time, and I'm keep on progressing and growing, and people hearing that through this podcast, because when you get to hear me speak for a long duration of time, you're going to be able to kind of understand like my processes. Because what a lot of people say is like, man, reselling is dead. You can't make money with reselling. There's so much disbelief because people just don't understand how to think like a business owner.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because I've helped so many people. It is ridiculous. So many people make 6 figures in reselling. People that were able to do 7 figures in revenue in resale. I've helped so many people. It's just that the majority of people wanted to be like during COVID, where it was easy. People like easy. And again, easy, we wanted to be easy, but you gotta adapt or you are going to die. Adapt or die. So, me really showing, that mindset of what I've, kind of been adapt to. And it's crazy because every year my reselling business has grown. Right now I do more than what I did during COVID. Is because I was able to adapt and grow. So people really hearing that on this podcast and the mindset, and me keeping growing and, scaling the company, being able to kind of, keep building a following of people that kind of see what I do is huge. I started my own website around a year ago, and that's been a game changer as well. Being able to streamline and systemize, kind of the business. So man, I just excited for the growth. One thing that I stand for is having progression.
Yeah.
And because with progression, there's fulfillment. And so many times people, I don't understand this, and maybe because I'm an athlete, I'm a person that always tries to push myself. I don't understand how somebody can be the exact same person that they were last year. I don't understand that, how somebody cannot grow from year to year and live the same life every single year.
Yeah.
I don't understand it. And one of the pillars for my life is progression, getting better every single day. And that podcast is going to really display the progression I continue to go, because who I am today is going to be completely different than who I am a year from now. Completely different, because I'm always looking forward to grow. In this podcast, I can display that growth and understand, like, business is fun, man. Business is fun. Yes, business, there is quote unquote a risk,
Yeah.
but that's why you make as much money as you do as a business owner, because you take on quote unquote the risk, even though there's not much risk in sneaker reselling unless you're doing it at a very high scale. But that's why you have the income that you have. And just seeing my family, being able to kind of, see me kind of run this, and my wife seeing me where it started to where it's at today. And it's crazy to say this, and I will kind of, we're going to conclude and wrap this up. It's like it's crazy to think about. I was talking to my wife, when we came back, and you kind of heard my story, when we came back to the Chicagoland area, we were literally using food stamps.
Wow.
Food stamps. Literally, guys, like literally using food stamps. And literally, fast forward today, my wife goes to Costco and she spends $1,500 on my card to go to Costco. So you see the progression from back using food stamps to where me having 3 boys, like, is not even a thought. And you be my assistant, the things that we do, and going to the grocery stores in Costco and just filling that thing to the top, to progress from me being in food stamps, where her no job, to where I'm at today. It's from growth and progression.
Yeah.
So you guys getting to see that, hear that, and kind of continue to hear that mindset through these podcasts, I'm super, super excited for. So, that's something that, you guys are going to see the behind the scenes of that growth.
Right. Yeah, that's amazing right there. I mean, I could definitely touch on those Costco receipts, man.
Those Costco receipts are crazy, man.
Costco
We have three
receipts
boys.
do.
It's crazy.
Those Costco receipts do go absolutely insane. But yeah,
Yeah.
man, I love the time where we're dropping this podcast and around this time because I guess you could say my kill shot from what I heard just now was that being like you don't understand how people can be that same person from year to year. And
Right.
coming close, we're coming real close to 2026
Six.
here. So let's just see who we become in the next year coming forward. I can't wait to see what goes on with Sniperkicks moving on to 2026, and I can't wait to see what other people do listening to this podcast. And,
Absolutely.
just going forward from here, especially myself.
Yeah.
Man. But appreciate you so much for sharing. Thank you for sharing your knowledge, your wisdom, and all that. But with that, it's we're going to a wrap.
Yeah.
So thank you so much.
Appreciate you guys for watching. Again, this is the first episode of Sniper Podcast. Hope you guys enjoyed. We'll keep dropping these, every week, and then we'll go from there. Appreciate you guys.